Welcome to Aligned Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. My question for you today is, what vestiges of your past are you still carrying with you? What can you surrender to the Lord? This past weekend I was at a campfire, and at the campfire the smoke billowed up and it permeated my clothes. If I were to take those same clothes out a week from now, they would still smell like smoke. I want to take us to the book of Daniel and the story of Daniel's three friends, Meshach, Shadrach, and Bendigo. And these three men lived exemplary lives by all accounts, but they refused to dishonor their God, and they refused to bow down to a statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had built to himself. And King Nebuchadnezzar was furious. And he put together this blazing hot fire in a furnace, and he decreed that these three men be thrown into the furnace. And the fire was so hot that the people that threw the men in died. I'm going to pick it up in Daniel chapter 3, verse 23. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Bendigo, fell, bound into the burning fiery furnace. And then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose up in haste. And he declared to his counselors, "Did we not cast three men bound into the fire?" And they answered and said to the king, "True, O king." And he answered and said, "But I see four men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the fourth is like a son of the gods." And then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning furnace, and he declared, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Bendigo, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here." And then Shadrach, Meshach, and Bendigo came out from the fire, and the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Bendigo, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him and set aside the king's command and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their God." I think there are two big takeaways from this for us today. First off, when we come through the fire, Christ invites us to come through unsinged. He invites us to come through with no smell of smoke. He gives us complete healing, healing of our shame, healing from bitterness, healing from wounds, and he invites us to move forward unencumbered by those. Secondly, when we come through the fire victorious, God is glorified, and people see his power and his might. Join me today in this Warrior 2 practice as we shed off all of those things from the past that we are still holding on to, and as we embrace and ready ourselves for the battles of the future. If you haven't already, come to a seated position, comfortably elevating your hips on a prop, just a few inches up on a block or a blanket. And find your sitting bones settle comfortably in, and allow your legs to either come behind you slightly wide or to cross comfortably in front. Closing your eyes, begin to find breath. Just noticing how fast or slow is your breath today, how shallow, how deep. Begin to breathe deeply in, breathing into the lungs, the rib cage, the diaphragm muscle. And exhaling, draw the belly in, soften the rib cage, and empty the lungs. And as you breathe a little more deeply and a little more slowly, can you breathe a little more three-dimensionally? Breathing into the back of the body as well as the front, filling into the sides of the body. Check in mentally. Just noticing how focused you are today, how distracted, what emotions you're feeling. Check in physically, noticing what is comfortable and what is uncomfortable. Where might you need to modify your practice today? And give yourself permission to make this practice whatever you need, body, mind, and spirit. Invite the Holy Spirit to guide your practice, to guide your thoughts, to take you where He wants you to go today. Hands down at the side, take a deep breath in, and connecting breath and movement, let the arms rise up and overhead, and exhaling, let the hands come down. And back and forth here, arms rising and falling with breath. And can you keep that breath moving freely, with no beginning and no end? And on that next inhale, as the arms rise up, let the gaze come up. And as the hands come down, bow your head. And staying here, press into the right hand and bring that left arm over to the side, and then up and over the other direction. Bring hands to center, interlacing the fingers, bring the palms towards me. Inhale up. Gaze up. Exhale, hands down to the side, pressing into the right hand, left arm reaching over. And then the other direction. Again, interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms forward, bring the arms up, looking up. Exhaling, unlace the fingers, bring them down. Pressing into that right hand, our arm rises and comes over. And then bringing that right arm up and over to the left. And one more time, but we're going to take our time this time. So bring the palms together and up. Reach the shoulders all the way up to your ears. And then really anchor at the pelvic floor. Draw the navel in and up. Soften the rib cage and let the shoulders draw down. And then just gaze up and down a few times. Once you're ready, unlace the fingers and bring the hands down, and pressing into that right arm, bring that left arm up and over, and overreach, and then sink back into the sitting bone. Begin to draw the shoulder back and the gaze up. Again, can you anchor through the pelvis, draw the navel in, soften the rib cage. As you're ready, rise up and come to the other side and overreach. Anchor into the sitting bones and draw the shoulder back and the gaze up. And find the strength and the stability in the pose. The next inhale, the arm rises and the hands come down. Go ahead and come off the block, bringing the blocks forward, and meet me in table. So fingers spread wide, knees underneath hips, look back and hide your feet behind your knees and snap through the tops of your feet. And then pressing into the tops of your feet, drawing the elbows in towards each other, the shoulder blades back and towards the hips. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. And continue here, cat to cow, leading with breath, using the core muscles of the body to guide the movement. Noticing the sensations in the back. What is comfortable? What is uncomfortable? And one more time, cat to cow. me back at table and turn your right fingertips in and sweep your left arm all the way up. And exhale and come underneath. Drop the shoulder and the head to the mat, but then come back up again with that inhale. And come in and out of this a couple of times. Just a gentle twist for the spine. And as you're ready, settle into the twist. Shoulders and head down on the mat or supported. Pressing into the tops of your feet. Extend that right arm all the way up. Begin to open up across the shoulder blades. Maybe that hand comes to the sacrum bone in the back or even all the way around into a bind. And just stay here for a breath. And as you're ready, release and unwind. Draw back into child. Find your first child's pose of the day. Rise into table. And one more time, child to table. And anchor into that table pose. Turn the left fingertips in, reach the right arm up, and exhale and come under. So again, back and forth here a few times, leading with breath. And as you're ready, settle into the pose. Again, just stacking the shoulders, raising that top arm to the sky, and then that right hand to the small of the back, or into the bind. Can you find your breath? And the next inhale, the arm rises. Exhale, hands come underneath the shoulders. Drawing the belly in, round your back up, meet me in cat. Inhaling, meet me in cow. Come into child and then table. Draw forward into a kneeling plank and exhaling, come down to the mat and bring the forearms to the side of the mat, pressing down. Inhale up and find Sphinx. Exhale, the body down. So just lead with the collarbone, pushing through the hands and up. Coming back down to the mat. One more time. And then come up into Sphinx pose and stay here, activating the pose, making those legs strong, pressing down with the feet and the forearms. And as you're ready, exhale down, hands to the rib cage, draw back to child. So twice more through this, still just warming up the body, plank to the mat, and Sphinx to child. Find your own pace. Lead with your breath. One more time. And as you're ready, meet me back on the mat. Curl the toes underneath and bring knees into rib cage. Begin to find your downward facing dog. So keep the rib cage close to the thighs as you find length in the spine. Shake your head up, no, and yes. Then begin to pedal through your feet, engaging through the abdominals. And on that next inhale, let the heels rise. And on the next inhale, let the heels come back and stay here for a couple of breaths and just notice the sensations of this first downward facing dog. Press the thighs back towards the mat. One more breath here. On the next inhale, the right leg rises high. As the gaze comes forward, bring the foot through your hands. Begin to drop and lift that back knee. So just down and up towards the mat. And as you're ready, go ahead and extend that back leg and begin to drop into the hip, imagining the inner thighs drawing towards each other. And press into your left hand and sweep your right arm up and stack your shoulders. Opening up across the chest, reaching ceiling to floor. Maybe the front knee comes 1 inch closer to the front edge of the mat, right over that ankle. And sweep the arm all the way down and around behind you and find props if that's better for you, bringing them to the base of your toes. Begin to straighten and bend your front leg. As you're ready, extending the front leg, drop the hip and let the head come down. And shake your head out, no. And yes. Let your shoulders relax and your head grow heavy. And find tension but not struggle. No pain, no shaking. As you're ready, release, lunge that front knee over the ankle. Bring the back foot up to meet the front, knees deeply bent. Find that first forward fold as the ribcage rests on the thighs and the head shakes no and yes. And lift and lower the hips a few times. And then as you're ready, sink the hips and rise up into chair pose. And maybe overreach the shoulders towards your ears and glide those shoulder blades down the side of the body. And press the tailbone towards the floor and engage through the abdominals. And then rise up into mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, bring the back up halfway. Exhale down, meet me back in plank. And from plank, draw down to your knees, and you one more time, come down through either plank or grasshopper. Find your back bend, low cobra or sphinx. Come back through child. And meet me in downward facing dog. On the next inhale, the left leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through. Back knee comes down and up. And then as you're ready, raise that back leg up. Press the heel to the wall behind you. Imagine the inner thighs drawing together, pressing into the right hand, left arm rises high, opening up the chest. Using your breath, can you find the pose? As you're ready, sweep that arm all the way down and around. And bring the blocks to the base of your toes if you're using them, and straighten and bend that front leg. So finding the hamstring stretch on this side, is it different than it was on the other side? And as you're ready, just extend the leg long, draw the belly down, let the back of the head reach towards the mat. Shake it out, no and yes. The next inhale, lunge that knee over the ankle, bring the back foot up to meet the front. Rise up into chair. Find chair, settle here for a breath. And then push through the feet as you come all the way up into mountain. This time in mountain, take the hands to the small of your back. Just begin to press through, press into the sacrum bone as you open up the chest. And stay in the back bend and bring those arms up and a Y. And then exhale and bring them out to the side as you float down in forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down. And choose your flow. So for some of you, you are still in kneeling plank, and others maybe you're in chaturanga and upward facing dog. And however you choose to get there, meet me in downward facing dog. And the next inhale, let the right leg rise high. As the gaze comes forward, the foot comes all the way through. Sweep up into your lunge. Begin to sink into that front hip. Draw the hip crease towards the back wall as that back leg rises. Shoulders over hips. Bringing the right hand to the small of the back. Twist as the left arm reaches across. Gentle twist here. And as you're ready, release. Bring the hands behind you. Again, opening up the chest. Maybe as the arms rise, maybe just pressing into the small of your back. Come over that leg in a humble warrior. Arms rise. Back of the head reaches to the mat. Exhaling, bring the hands down. Bring the front foot to the back. Meet me in plank. And from plank, find your way into your back bend and into downward facing dog. And the next inhale, the left leg rises high. And the gaze comes forward and the foot comes all the way through and rise into lunge. And sink into that front hip and draw that hip crease back as that back heel reaches to the mat. Inner thighs draw together and towards the pelvis. Left hand to the small of the back. Reach as high as you can with that right, and then find the twist as that right arm comes around the outside of that front thigh. One more breath here. As you're ready, release. Bring the arms all the way up. And then take the hands behind you and either at the small of your back, the sacrum bone, or interlacing those fingers awkwardly. Find humble warrior as you bow forward, dropping your head. Bringing your shoulders up. Find the stretch across the shoulders, across the chest. And find the release in the neck. As you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands down to either side of that front foot and hop the back foot to the front and find forward fold. And hands to shins, rise up halfway and exhale down and sink your hips. Meet me in chair pose. And settle into chair pose and then rise up into mountain. Exhaling, bring hands behind the head, stay in mountain. And then press the left elbow back. And so as you do that, can you keep the hips forward and then raise that left elbow up? And maybe the opposite arm comes around, stretching the side of the body. And as you're ready, release. Cup the hands, turn the palms inside out, bring the arms all the way up, awkwardly interlace the fingers, Again, just bringing them behind the head, and this time turning the other direction. Let that back elbow rise up as you press through the foot. And maybe that bottom arm stays there, or maybe it comes around into the bind, giving you just a little extra stretch. And as you're ready, release. Hands to heart. Stay here and check in. Just notice the sensations in the feet, up and down the side of the body. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise, exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, bring the body up, spine parallel to the floor. Exhale down, find your plank. From plank, find your way to the mat, into your back bend. And meet me in downward facing dog. Stay here for one more breath. And on the next inhale, the right leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through the hands. Bring your block to the inside of your foot. Let's keep it high for the moment. Come all the way up into that lunge. This time, hands come out to the side. Pivot the back foot. So my back foot now parallel to the outside edge of the mat. My front foot aligned with the instep of that back foot, toes pointing forward. Go ahead and drop that back arm. Reach the front arm up. Peaceful warrior. And then bring that front arm down, forearm to the leg as the back arm comes over, side angle bend. And so back and forth here, 2 more times each. And then meet me in Peaceful Warrior. And just stay here for a moment and maybe realign, and maybe that back hip is starting to drift towards the front of the mat, and can you bring it back? A little extra weight in the outside edge of that foot. Maybe that bottom arm can bind, and in that you can find a deeper stretch in the right side of your body. And then come forward into side angle bend. And bring that top arm straight up, and keeping the front leg bent. Bring your hand to your prop and just stay right here. And can you stretch shoulder to shoulder, wrist to fingertips? And then bring that front hand towards the front of the mat, the top hand towards the front of the mat, and reach it all the way overhead. How much length can you find in the side of the body? And then meet me back in Peaceful Warrior. And find Warrior 2 again. And stay in Warrior 2 for 2 breaths. And notice how it feels. And again, can you open up a little bit more to the wide edge of the mat? Drop the back arm and lift the front, and then cartwheel both over and move the block out of the way to the side, and bring the front foot to meet the back foot to meet the front. I'm at the front of my mat. Shake your head out no and yes. Hands to shins, come up halfway. Exhale down one leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. And from plank, come down to the mat. Rise up into your back bend and meet me in downward facing dog. And breathe. Find breath. And on the next inhale, the left leg rises high. And the gaze comes forward as the foot comes all the way through, and the block comes to the inside of that foot, and rise up into your lunge. And anchor with those core muscles as the arms reach wall to wall, and spin into Warrior two. So that back foot parallel to the back edge of the mat, front knee right over the ankle. Go ahead and drop the back leg. Peaceful warrior. Coming all the way over, side angle bend. So back and forth here a few times. Are you still moving with your breath? One more time. As you're ready, stay in side angle bend and bring that top arm all the way up. Again, just take the bottom arm to the block, and I'm just keeping it high right now, because really what I'm looking for is how open can I make the front of my body, shoulder to shoulder, wrist to wrist. And can I still engage the abdominals as I do that, drawing that navel in and up, softening and binding together that rib cage. And maybe there's not too much weight on that wrist as I hold it with my core muscles. Then bring the palm towards your ear and reach up and over and over and over. And how much length can you find on that right side? And as you're ready, bring that arm all the way down. Find that peaceful warrior. And meet me in warrior two. This time, go ahead and bring the elbows down and the thumbs in as if you were holding onto suspenders. And then push the arms out, palms facing the outside walls. And then gently turn the palms up, externally rotating the shoulders, gaze comes to the front. Opening up the body to the wide edge of the mat, warrior two. Imagine this back hand shooting away all of the vestiges of the past that you do not want to carry with you. This front arm welcoming the challenges of the future. One more breath. Drop the back arm, find peaceful warrior, and cartwheel all the way forward. This time, bring the front back foot to the front. Hands to shins, come up halfway. Exhale down, pressing through the feet, rise up into mountain. Hands to prayer, hands to heart. So pressing into the hands, engaging through the abdominals, letting the shoulders drop, find a strong mountain, and check in. Noticing the way the feet are connected to the mat, noticing the way that the body feels, what is comfortable, what is uncomfortable. The next inhale, take a deep breath in. Arms rise, exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway, exhale down, one leg back and then the other, find your plank, and however you choose to do it, come through your flow and meet me in downward facing dog. Stay here for a moment, just noticing, has anything shifted and changed in the way that your downward facing dog feels? And the next inhale, raise that right leg high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through, rise into lunge and pivot into warrior two. This time, straighten and bend the legs a few times, coming in and out of warrior. Then find a strong warrior. Arms reaching wall to wall, gaze forward. Imagine the fingers reaching out as the shoulders draw in. Go ahead and drop the back arm, peaceful warrior. And over to the side, side angle bend. And back and forth here two more times. And then as you're ready, come into that side angle bend. And again, raise the top arm up to 12 o'clock. Keep that high block, hand to the block. Go ahead and reach that top arm overhead, find as much length as you can. Press through the outside edges of the back foot, draw the hips slightly forward. Then bring that top arm back up, straighten out the front leg, and then take the block to wherever you want it to be. Can you keep the chest open? So don't tilt forward. Stay strong in the core. One more breath. And gently lunge that front knee towards the front of the mat. Come back into Peaceful Warrior. Cartwheel all the way forward. Move the block out of the way. Back foot joins the front. Find forward fold. Drop the hips. Meet me in chair. As you settle into chair, again, just find it. Maybe pressing a little bit more at the base of the big toe and the little toe. Tailbone reaching down towards the floor. Drawing the rib cage in and down towards the spine. Inhale, rise up into mountain. Exhale, hands behind you, interlace the fingers, bending the knees, bring the rib cage to the thighs, and bring those arms up and overhead if that works for you. And fold it over, rib cage touching thighs, shake your head out, no and yes. Begin to gently straighten out the legs to whatever is right for you. Tension, but no struggle. And as you're ready, sink the hips. Rise one more time up into that mountain pose. Hands to heart. Check in for a breath. Stay here, pressing into that left foot. Bring that right foot back into lunge. Bring the arms up and overhead, and then out to the side, and pivot into Warrior Two. Again, finding the alignment of the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the feet. Begin to just come in and out of this as the arms rise, legs straighten, and come back. Back and forth here. Two more times. And as you're ready, stay in Warrior Two. Keep the legs there, draw the back arm down. Peaceful Warrior to side angle bend. And back and forth here. One more time each way. And stay in side angle bend. Bring that block to the inside of the foot and find the high tower. And stretch it long, fingers to wrist. And turn the palm towards you and reach all the way over and find all the length that you can in the side of the body. And then raise that arm back up and now straighten that front leg. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you begin to drop that block down and find what's right for you. Can you find breath? Can you hold the pose with the abdominals? One more breath. You're ready, lunge the knee forward. Come back into Peaceful Warrior. Cartwheel your way all the way forward. Hands to either side of the front foot, back foot rises to meet the front. Find forward fold. Drop the hips, rise into chair. Find a strong chair pose. Stay here for a breath. Inhale, rise up to mountain. Hands to heart. And stay here for 2 breaths, checking in. Noticing the effects of that sequence, how any sensations in the body have shifted, changed, or stayed the same. Ready, release, shake out your hands. So just playing a little bit with tree pose today. Step into that right foot, bring that left foot just under the knee. Again, bring the arms out, remembering how strong they felt when you were in warrior and recreating that. Fingers reaching out, shoulders reaching in. Maybe the foot comes above the knee, it's never on the knee. Maybe the arms can come up. Maybe the arms can reach out again. Can you twist towards that bent knee? Just finding balance in the storms, balance in the fire. Arms reaching all the way up, hands to heart. Shake out your legs, shake out your arms. Other side, just pressing into that left foot. Again, that right foot, just start low. Hands reaching out, engaging through the abdominals, shoulders back. Maybe that leg comes up. Maybe the arms come up. Hands to heart. Can you twist towards that knee? Come back to center. And as you're ready, release and shake it out. Nice deep breath in, arms rise high, exhale, forward fold. Stay here in forward fold, bend and straighten the legs a few times. And then gently press the legs towards the back of the mat, the thighs towards the back of the mat, and let the back of the head come forward and towards the mat. Engaging through the abdominals, grow a little longer in the spine. Hands to shins, rise up halfway, exhale down, one leg back and then the other, find plank. Stay strong in plank for 3 breaths. Engaging through the abdominals, finding strength along the upper back, lower back, transverse abdominals, finding full breath. As you're ready, knees come to the mat. Child to table 3 times. Are you still leading with your breath? And as you're ready, come into child's pose and stay there. Hips dropping back towards heels, adjust the legs, maybe a little narrower or wider. Forearms heavy on the mat. Massage out your forehead. What fires have you been through? What evidence of those are you still carrying that you can surrender today? As you're ready, press into your hands and rise up. Bring your feet forward. Bring your feet wide and gently just drop them down side to side. Massage out the glutes. And then as you're ready, come over to the right. And just explore what's going on over there today. And settle in right next to a tight space and begin to massage it out. And then go the other direction. Again, just massage it out. Notice, are you in the same place on this side or someplace very different? Side to side again with the knees. As you're ready, come back to center. Let's go ahead and bring a block to your hips. And come all the way down onto your back and give yourself a hug and just rock side to side. So you're just massaging out the back. And then gently bring the knees down and the feet just a little bit away from those hips. Bring your hands all the way up to the sky and thump the shoulders down a couple of times. Arms just stay straight. Just bring those arms down to the side. And then as you're ready, come in and out of bridge. So as much as you can, just articulate one vertebra at a time. And begin to release through all the muscles of the back as you come up onto your heels and shoulder blades. And exhale out of it. And as you rise, can you lift with your quadriceps? And lift with the tops of those thighs. And one more time, in and out of bridge. And then settle. Let's let the back settle into the mat, and notice the way the back is connected to the mat. And then take your block and just bring it directly above the tailbone and below the spine. And find breath here. And so as you settle into the block, let the back grow heavy. Release any tension in the body. And let the breath move freely in and out with no beginning and no end. can each breath be slower than the last? Take one more breath here. As you're ready, press into your feet. Move that block out from underneath. And once again, just let the back settle into the mat, taking a breath, noticing the way that you're connected to the mat. What has changed? Go ahead and bring your knees in and big toes together. Begin to just circle on the sky. And draw the knees in with your hands. So my wrists are on top of my knees, fingers reaching down the shins. And as you're ready, go the other direction. As you're ready, meet me at center and gently bring the knees into the rib cage and away from the body, back and forth here. Bring one foot down and then the other, and gently extend your legs long. And find Savasana. And find your breath. And as you settle in tonight, imagine that you are encircled with flame. And although the flames are raging, the flame is not touching you. You are free and unencumbered. Notice that Jesus is here with you, in the center of the storm, in the center of the fire. He's giving you clarity. He's helping you to breathe freely. Notice that gradually the flames are becoming lower. Soon there are only flickers. And the flames disappear, leaving only a ring of hot coals. And the hot coals become ash. Jesus takes a deep breath, and with the breath of the Spirit, all of the ash dissipates and flies away. No evidence of fire remains. Begin to breathe a little more freely, taking up more space. Forever letting go of anything, any evidence of past fires. There is not even the smell of smoke. From the book, Come Away, My Beloved. 2 Thessalonians 3:3. The Lord is faithful, who will establish you and guard you from the evil one. And written from the author as if from God to you, be not afraid. I will not allow your adversaries to swallow you up. You are my child. I will deliver you, honor you, and be glorified through you. Because of my faithfulness to you, even your enemies will recognize my power. I will keep you in sickness, and in death I will be your sure comfort. I will walk with you through the valley, and you will fear no shadow. Gently bring yourself back to this time and this place. Reconnecting with your breath, noticing the way that your body has settled onto the mat. Gently begin to bring movement back, wiggle fingers and toes, rotate wrists and ankles. Maybe turn your head from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. The next inhale, arms rise up. And stretch as long as you possibly can, reaching all the way to that wall behind you with your fingers, with your toes. And then as you're ready, roll over onto one side, supporting yourself with your arm. Closing your eyes, finding breath. On that next inhale, come up to a sitting position. Find your sitting bones. Find your alignment. Check in one final time, body, mind, and soul. What has changed? What has stayed the same? On that next inhale, arms rise up and overhead, hands to prayer, and exhaling, hands to heart, bowing your head, joining me in prayer. Oh, holy God, we are so thankful that you are always with us, no matter what fires we may face. We thank you most of all that you deliver us, that we come through unscathed, and that you use our story for your glory. As we leave our mats today, we go bravely forward, embracing all that you have for us, entering into the fire fearlessly. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ that we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining me today.